I have a question. Do you want to be a leader, or maybe you're considering for your career? What if I get offered a management position? What am I going to do? Will I accept it? Will I not? Do I really want to become a leader? Well, in this video, I've got 5 questions for you to ask yourself to really decide, do you want to lead people? Now, this is separate. You talk about management, leadership. I always try to differentiate the two. I see management as a function of processes and systems and tasks and that type of thing, work specific. Leadership is about people, serving people, taking care of people, growing, developing people. That's what I talk about more so. So these questions are going to be focused more on, are you ready to lead people? And if so, I can help you do that here on this channel and through the other content that I provide. So here's the first question. First and foremost, and this really does come down to leadership and management. Do you want to lead people, or do you just want to be in charge? And I did an entire video on leadership versus management where I broke down another author's view of, he did a great job breaking that down. But truly, the way I gave you in my introduction, management very much focuses on the work, the workload, the tasks, the processes, the systems, the technology, all of the functions of work on one side. And then you've got leadership that talks about people development, growing people, helping them become better, helping them maybe become leaders, and all that's on the other. And so you have these two different sides. And so do you want to lead people? Do you want to help them grow? Do you want to help them develop? Do you want to care about them, see them successful, see them reach their full potential? Or do you want to just be in charge? Do you want to just be a person that tells others what to do? Do you want to be able to assign work and delegate and just give instructions to people and have just control in your life and in your work? Here's the thing I will caution you on already from this first question. If you want to just be in charge, you can be in a management role. You can be in a position where you can do all of those things, but you will burn out your employees and you will be either a micromanager or a toxic boss that people will not like to work for. But if you truly want to lead people and make a difference for them and their life and their career, then you might be ready to take on leadership responsibility. Now, speaking of responsibility, question number 2, are you ready to take responsibility when things go wrong? Now, I think of the president, I believe it was Teddy Roosevelt, who had a plaque or some type of nameplate or something on his desk in the Oval Office that simply said, "The buck stops here." And it was the idea that truly it was the stopping point for everything good, everything bad with leadership. When it got to that desk in that spot, because he was the leader, the buck stopped here. And so for you, when things go wrong, they may not be entirely your fault. They might be. I mean, I make mistakes. I'm honest. I do dumb things on occasion. We all can. But when you are a leader, people look to you for things going well or things going poorly. And so when things maybe are not going as well as they could, are you ready to be that kind of person where the buck stops here? You take responsibility, you step up, you try to see what's going wrong, what's the problem, we need to address it, take charge and lead your people through that situation. Because if you're the kind of leader that you're not willing to take that responsibility and work on solving those problems, and you're quick to point and say, that's their fault, that's their fault, it's that process's fault, and you're pointing to everything else and you're not willing to take responsibility and say, I'm the leader, we will figure this out. I will help us work through this. If you're not willing to step up and do that, you might not be ready for leadership yet. But if you're willing to take on the hard job, you might be ready for more leadership responsibilities. So let's go to question number 3. Question number 3, can you handle difficult conversations? For me, my first job out of college, I had a manager who this was his favorite thing. I want you to be better at difficult conversations. I want you to be good at difficult conversations. And thanks to him and a lot of different areas he let me work on, I had to deal with a lot of difficult conversations, and I still do. I deal with people who are angry, who are upset. I deal with people that don't like me or people that disagree with me in different areas. I deal with angry comments or people that disagree with things that I share on social media. That happens. You deal with people that are not always going to see eye to eye or may not like you. But when you are a leader, you're going to deal with employees that disagree with your decisions. They think they've got better ways to go about things. And it's not saying you discredit and ignore it. Maybe you listen to them, but what if that turns into a difficult conversation where they believe they're right and you know that their way is not going to work? How do you navigate that conversation? What if you're sitting in a meeting and you're listening to somebody and you have done the research, you know all the information, you are fully prepared, and they have not, but yet they're telling you you're wrong? Most of the time that blows up into an argument. How are you going to handle that conflict, that difficult conversation? That says a lot of if you're prepared to be a leader or not. If this is something, difficult conversations maybe have you a little uneasy, I highly recommend checking out the book Crucial Conversations. That is probably one of the best books in dealing with difficult conversations specifically. I'll link it in the description of the video. If that's something specific, definitely check that out. If you feel like you're good with difficult conversations or you don't mind taking them on, you maybe are sitting and maybe you're like me a few years ago going, I'm really not that great at them, but I will learn, I will practice, I will try to figure them out. Then great, might be ready for some more leadership responsibility. But what about question number 4? Question number 4 is, am I going to keep learning? This is something sadly I see out of a lot of college students, and I ran the risk of this when I first graduated my undergrad. Is you finish up college and your studies and you are very tempted to say, I am not picking up another textbook. I am not reading another book related to my field of study. I just want to get a job, get a paycheck. I am done. And there's a lot of people have that mindset. But yet there's also people who say, I know I need to keep learning. I need to keep growing. I need to become a better leader. I need to become a better communicator. I need to seek out courses or materials or podcasts or YouTube videos. If you're watching this video with me, hopefully this is helping you grow as a person. There are all of these aspects that help make you a better person, but a leader will ask and seek out those opportunities because they want to learn, grow, and be better. I've heard the phrase, leaders are readers. I will give you a caveat to that. Audiobooks. I know a lot of great leaders who utilize audiobooks. They listen to them. Leaders will listen to podcasts, different content that helps grow and stretch their ideas and their mindset. But here's the thing with that. If you are not willing to challenge yourself, get out of your comfort zone, to grow, to learn something new, try a new idea, try something different, leadership might not be for you, because leaders need to constantly be developing and growing and trying new things so that they can continue to lead more effectively and to continue to go up instead of just doing the same things. Leadership is not about doing the same things. So does that sound like you? Is that something that you feel like you're ready to take on, is learning, growing in your career no matter what, or in your life no matter what? If so, you're probably ready for more as a leader. Then question number 5, this one's the big one. Am I willing to put others above myself? Now, when you are a manager, you direct, you tell people what to do, you assign out tasks and responsibilities. But leaders recognize that they are only there, they only have their position, they only have their responsibility, they only have their impact because of people. On YouTube, you can have somebody presenting all kinds of content and great information, but if nobody ever watches or cares, they don't have a lot of impact. You can have a pastor try to lead a church, but if not a single person comes and attends, they're serving faithfully, but they're not leading or impacting anybody because nobody's following or listening. You can have a business owner, they start up and they're an entrepreneur and they're running the business themselves, and they can be successful and run the business themselves, but if they're not impacting people or growing anything greater, they're really neglecting the impact of being a true leader. Leaders recognize that growth, impact, development, true significance in life is by how you impact and what you do to and for others. But are you willing to put those first? I know servant leadership is something I've talked about on the channel. You can go back and find my other videos talking about servant leadership. That's a big one where people talk about just service first. I am not even saying servant leadership is the route you need to go on, but are you willing to serve others? Are you willing to lead others, to have difficult conversations with them, invest into them, grow yourself so that you can grow them, to teach yourself things so you can go and teach them? Ask the hard questions so you can then go and provide them answers. Are you willing to put other people first? Are you willing to help them? Are you willing to go that extra step for your followers? That's a question that leaders have to ask themselves. Now, I've got a bonus question for you, and this one's not part of the core 5, but this one's just something else to consider if you're looking at a leadership or a management role or something that has a type of impact that you'll be out in front of a lot of people. And that is, are you ready to be seen? Because if you step out into a leadership role, you don't lead from the background where nobody ever sees and nobody knows what you're doing. There's a lot of things in leadership that do go unnoticed and unseen. But if things go wrong, people look to the leaders. If things are going well, they sometimes and often will recognize the leaders and congratulate them. Leaders are people who often are out in front and gain a lot of recognition. Even if they are trying to lead with their people, bring their people with them, support their people, just by their title position, a lot of times they get a lot more attention. And are you ready for that? Because it can be criticism, it can be compliments, it can be the risk of gaining an ego that kind of corrupts your mindset, if you will, because you become overconfident. You have to guard against those things because they can really tear you down. You can become a leader and become overconfident and arrogant, and you can have a moral failure, or you can make a mistake and you can fall and you can lose the kind of impact you can have in your life because you were not ready to be seen. Even for me, with this YouTube channel and this content, I have lists on my computer of hundreds of video ideas, topic ideas for podcasts, for blogs, for YouTube videos, and so much more. But yet I did not start making a single video until years later, because on the inside, I knew this is what I wanted to do. I was ready to go and do this type of content, but I kept psyching myself out and I wouldn't just click record and get started. I wasn't fully ready to be seen. If you're ready to be seen, then get started, be a leader, grow, develop yourself, pick up that leadership book, listen to a leadership podcast, watch that YouTube video, and get started as a leader. If you don't know where to get started, reach out to me. I will be happy to give you book recommendations, book ideas. I have coaching services. I have leadership development programs. If you want to be in a community of like-minded leaders, reach out to me. I'm starting a leadership community where we will be meeting on a regular basis to talk and collaborate with other leaders and have leadership lessons private to just you guys. So if you are interested in a community like that, reach out. Check out my website, DysonLeadership.com. Subscribe here on this YouTube channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.